All right, so Marvel Mondays are back.
Let's
you already know. Cousin Jeffro, Young Lion. We're doing Captain America. We left off on Thor. We've had a little hiatus, a little bit. No, don't worry about it. We are back.
It hasn't been 75 years though.
No, nothing. No frozen in ice. None of that. But we normally start off by we chose this scene for this reason, that reason, this reason. The other one that we had talked about was when he goes into the ice, crashes the plane.
Because it was just so symbolic of like who Steve is, because he has somebody that he needs to come back for, but does that outweigh the needs of the thousands of people that are going to get killed by what happens if he doesn't get the plane down before it hits?
Right. So it's like that it is Steve Rogers. It's that self-sacrifice. You see it here. It's that self-sacrifice.
Yep.
That that Steve is. I failed. I fumbled. Did not bring the case. But I want to throw out that those cases are, if you have the special ones or whatever, that it's the shield in a mountain
which
way.
Which is beautiful.
Because the first one is, I almost want to say it's like the train when Bucky falls.
The shield. And
it's the bottom. And then the middle one would be Winter Soldier.
Wow.
And it's like the star and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then that final one is Civil War and everything. It's super cool.
Ooh.
It's super cool.
That is beautiful.
I'll tell you what, we'll try to look that up here in a second. See if I can find all the cases in order.
Okay.
So do you want to go ahead and watch this video right quick, and then we'll get into our discussion?
Sure.
Let's get into it.
Look at that. He's making me cry.
I am looking for qualities beyond the physical.
Do you know how long it took to set up this project? All the grubbling I had to do in front of Senator What's-His-Name's committees?
Yes, I know. I am well aware of your efforts.
Then throw me a bone. Hodge passed every test we gave him. He's big, he's fast, he obeys orders, he's a soldier.
He's a bully.
You don't win wars with niceness, Doctor. You win wars with guts.
Grenade! No! Get away! Get back!
Dummy grenade.
This is the test.
All clear. Back in formation.
Is this a test?
He's still skinny.
Oh, look at that. Beautiful little Captain
love
America
it.
leave there. Man, that scene, so many things, and we know from the what if that who else can jump on that grenade. Obviously, we'll get there eventually.
That's true. Well, because even in that scene,
Even in that scene, you
she's
can
about
see her
to
jump.
Yeah.
And she doesn't get there, but it almost happens. Yeah, no, I love that scene, man. It kind of gets you pumped for the rest of that movie.
Well, and again, it's who Steve is. Like, you see the one guy that it shows like right before this, and
show off your shirt. Let me show off. Go, keep talking. I got Rogers the musical on today. I know it's Hawkeye, but it's Cap. Come on.
It's Rogers. It's called Rogers. So, right before this, the blonde dude, the like buff guy, he like hit on Captain Carter, and she punches him square in the face.
Yep.
Like, so we know that he's kind of a bully, and Captain Phillips is even talking about how you need people like him because they win wars
Fast
and
and strong.
It's funny how ironic as he is. You don't win wars with this, you win wars with guts, and then the only person who had the guts to actually jump on the grenade is Steve.
Yeah, you don't win wars with niceness. That's what he says. One thing I want to throw out on Captain America in general is I believe that his trilogy is the best. I believe we've talked about that
hands
before.
Down. This is the sad thing is this is actually the weakest of the three, but that's not a bad thing because this movie is
still is up there.
I think it's underrated as heck, honestly.
It is on. This is one of the best Phase 1 movies.
Oh, for sure. I think the only one that it's not better than is Iron Man.
Fair enough.
Because
I 100% agree.
Because
I agree with that.
I mean, but the thing is like you compare it to Winter Soldier, and you already know Winter Soldier is a top 5 movie for me. All the MCU, it is just amazing.
Winter Soldier's really good.
Civil War, top 10.
Beautiful movies.
Like those are just two really phenomenal movies. It's not fair for Civil War because Civil War is more of an Avengers movie, really. But
yeah, 100%. But
so,
do what you gotta do there. And then just the scene, because back when this came out, 2011, I was 8 years old.
Ooh, yeah.
So I didn't know a lot about Captain America and the Winter Soldier and everything. Obviously, I had cousin Jeffro out there, but he would fill me in with little things. But at that time, I was also going through cancer treatment. So there wasn't a lot of time I'd get to sit there and just talk about Captain America or Thor and all this other.
And he wouldn't really be able to pay attention even if he did.
Exactly, I'd sleep all the time. Yeah. So when Bucky falls off that train,
and if you don't know the comics, and you know that there's not,
he just got his friend back.
Yeah.
That was right after the prison break.
Yeah, which is one of the. There's two scenes that I wanted to suggest, but for whatever reason, they just didn't fit with the whole premise. One of them was where he rescues everyone. You first see Red Skull's face, and then he walks back he's about to court-martial Agent Carter for letting Steve do that. And then the other one is the montage of when they're like starting to win, and then Bucky falls off
the
train because it leads up to so much else. But I think the two that we came up with were the best, and I think we picked the best one.
I 100% agree, man. This grenade scene. Like we said 4 or 5 times now, it's Steve. That's who he is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
But when Bucky falls off that, like I was saying, I was like, wow, it's just they throw so much trauma into poor Steve, and he carries all those burdens, everything.
And there's a part in this that I always still love. It's when he's doing the whole where he got the captain title because Phillips isn't going to give him a chance after Erskine gets killed. So he starts doing all those ads, and he's like, every bullet you buy is a bullet in a barrel of your best guy's gun.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that always just sticks with me because it's so catchy.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
I know that little show choir they do is funny.
So I've always loved that.
And then obviously the scene, another good scene is when he's down there. Obviously that little just tin shield isn't going to work.
Oh, yeah.
And he's talking to Mr. Stark there, and he's like, yeah, what do you want? We got titanium, we got this, we got that. And he's like, what's that one? Picks up the circle vibranium shield. And he's like, that is very expensive.
And Agent Carter comes in, and she's mad at Steve. And he says, what do you think? And shoots, and she goes, it'll do.
Yep.
Oh.
Just the balls. Like, what if,
Yeah.
But no, that scene's also a good scene to, doesn't necessarily invoke Steve, but it invokes Captain America.
Now, did you see a couple of the Easter eggs in this movie?
Of what?
So, in the scene where they're going to the Stark Expo, they are walking by, and you see this, robotic-looking thing. Did you know that is the original Human Torch named Jim Hammond? He was actually a synthezoid. And he fights with Steve and Namor and Bucky and a bunch of other heroes that most people that know today's comics wouldn't know. They're called the Invaders. And the original Human Torch, you can actually see him in there.
Did not know that. Okay. Very cool. I'll have to go back and look at that.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What else you got? Any other little things there?
So, Arnim Zola.
Yep.
This kind of goes into Winter Soldier too, but the whole him blending in with Hydra and S.H.I.E.L.D. and then he becomes a TV, that's kind of cool. Now we'll kind of expound on that later. I'm trying to think if there's any big other Easter eggs that I can think of. I don't know. Oh, so we know that what happens to Red Skull, everyone thinks he dies.
Yep.
But knowing what we know now, that sets up 2 of the biggest movies of the entire MCU.
True that.
And 2 of the most heart-wrenching scenes.
Let's not forget that this Red Skull is played by a different actor as well.
It's Hugo Weaving here.
The one in the Avengers, Endgame, and Infinity War is a different guy.
It's Ross Marquand.
I did not know who they were. Yeah. Oh, Ross Marquand? That's who that is?
Mm-hmm.
I did know that, actually, because I saw him at a convention.
And honestly, he killed it. You couldn't really tell a difference.
Oh, yeah.
Overall.
He was good. I liked him.
Can't
complain.
At least that's what the floaty guy said.
And I feel Red Skull is a villain in this. You know what I mean? Bro, he fills the shoes of villain.
And
which we lost that a little there in some other movies.
yeah, especially in the more recent ones. This is something you'll hear me and Young Lion harp on a lot. Is that the movies are always good, but there are things that they do where they become kind of tropes that are annoying. And in the first phase, one of the things that I like is the villains are villains. Even Abomination at this time is a villain. Now, you understand that because of the gamma radiation and stuff, some of that's because of that, but he's still the bad guy. Mm-hmm. You understand that Ross is not a great guy.
Right.
You know, Obadiah Stane, bad guy.
Bad guy.
Whiplash, bad guy. Justin Hammer, funny, bad guy.
Yup.
You know what I mean? Like, there's no... I really think it started with Loki.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where you kind of started to blur the lines between villain, kind of a villain, kind of a good guy.
And you know, Loki is almost like a... Not even in this movie. We can get on that once we get to Avengers, but he's...
No. False.
What?
False.
When's Loki in this?
Have you ever seen the end credit scene?
Oh.
It does the whole thing for Avengers.
When he's talking
and
to the
it
guys.
literally shows him throughout.
That's right. I did forget about that. I always forget about the end credits sometimes, man. And another nod to Norse mythology is where they get the Tesseract. That wall is the Yggdrasil.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So, you know, I don't know that actually plays anything into anything, but it's just like saying, hey, Norse is like kind of a thing in this, you know what I mean?
Oh, there's a MCU Easter egg. You know this, but most people don't. And it's funny because if you look on the screen right now, there's a picture of him getting ready to kiss this girl. If you've paid attention to movies that come up later, that actress plays Peter Quill's mother, who is dying of cancer. And you actually see more of her in Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Boom.
Because she actually sings, I forget what the song is. I forget. What a fire. Brandy. That's the name of the song.
Brandy.
Never said Brandy. You don't want to hear me sing.
Yeah, it's fine. We do music on the other part of this channel.
That's something else. So, I still love this movie. Like, this is a movie I could just rewatch. I don't have to like pay attention to.
Sure.
But I've seen it so much that I could just follow it, and it's good. It's just solid.
Yeah. I agree with that statement. 100%. This is on the background. I'll probably end up watching it at any given point. It could be the end fight, and I'll watch the rest of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just good. Now, you said that you lost your ranking.
My overall list, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So where would you put this in your ranking now? Because at this time of being recorded, Deadpool 3 has hit.
And it is.
And it is a masterpiece. But we'll get there in, at the rate we're going, probably 4 years.
Maybe
but,
5.
but where would you put this?
Okay,
Even if it's a rough estimate.
Well, I know that before Deadpool and Wolverine, it was low teens.
Okay.
Like, I couldn't have it in my top 10. There's just too many good movies, like, top 10-wise that... And I had Iron Man at 12. I know that. I do remember I had Iron Man at 12. And it was really close to Iron Man, so I'm going to venture to say, when I redo my list, because I'm going to have to redo it anyway, I'm just going to put this probably about 14.
So mine obviously needs updated as well. I have Captain America at 15 from when I did this original.
So we're pretty close.
On that.
Now, his list has not been updated since Secret Invasion.
Yeah, my
so
list is
the
bad.
Marvels,
She-Hulk's not even on there.
Werewolf by Night.
It is on there, but it's not. I haven't watched it.
I said Werewolf by Night.
I haven't watched that.
Echo.
I haven't watched that.
I'm trying to think. Guardians 3.
Guardians 3 should be ranked on there.
It isn't on there, though. If you haven't, unless you added it. Because Guardians 3 was after Secret Invasion.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 right there.
Oh, you have Secret Invasion on there. Okay. So you've done...
But I ranked them without seeing them as well. So Secret Invasion was the most recent thing released when I did this.
And you had watched it.
And I have not watched it, no.
Oh, we need to watch it. Well, and then, so you still probably have Werewolf by Night, the Marvels,
Echo,
Deadpool and Wolverine need to be on there. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. What If Season 2?
That's not on there.
But
does Deadpool and Wolverine actually go on there, though?
What?
Do we even put that on?
Deadpool and Wolverine?
Yeah.
It's a Marvel Studios film.
It is a Marvel Studios film, but is it in our universe?
It is. He talks to Happy Hogan.
He does at a point, but he goes back to his universe.
And they mention MCU. No, it's an MCU movie.
Okay.
But here's one mistake that we mentioned in a previous video. We talked about X-Men 97. It doesn't count in the MCU because it's not part of anything related to the MCU. It's Marvel Animation Studios. So in my opinion, that shouldn't go there.
Okay.
That should
I
be
will
like
agree with
one
that.
of the first things we do afterwards, where if we just decide to rank a random thing.
Sure.
Because we could talk about X-Men 97 for a while
Because
too.
we could do because we want. I know you want to do the X-Men movies after the MCU's done, like the Fox.
We could do the Fox stuff, yeah.
The Fox stuff.
Unless you prefer to do another franchise that doesn't have to be Marvel related.
Which we could totally do that too. I mean, we got Star Wars out there. We have Harry Potter out there. Lord of the Rings is out there.
Yeah, we got a lot.
all sorts of stuff that we could cover.
For
And
sure.
I love watching movies anyway. It's a
Okay.
good pastime.
So, now this movie. For those of you who have not seen any of our videos, or you forget how we rank them, we already did our overall ranking as how we just ranked the MCU related content.
Yep.
But we also rank these based on the movie itself from 1 to 10, just what we think this movie ranks as.
Yep.
So for you, what would you rank it?
I'm gonna give this movie an 8.5. It's just great. I love it.
I'm actually right there with you. I was literally teetering between 8 and 8.5. This has strong callbacks to stuff that's happening. It sets up a great backstory, like for the MCU itself. You know, we get to see Howard Stark. We get to see Agent Carter. We get to see like the start of S.H.I.E.L.D. You know, and we think
And right
Hydra
at the
disappears.
What else do we see? Nick Fury. S.H.I.E.L.D. is built. It's there.
Yep, and obviously that ties in directly to Avengers. The end credit scene is very much just a giant promo for the Avengers. It shows some stuff that happens there. So, I mean, this movie is just solid. It's just a solid movie. You know, I could rewatch it 1,000 times. So, I want to have the last word, and you know why. So, is there anything else that you want to say before I do?
No. If you haven't seen this one and you're an MCU fan, I don't know what you're doing. Go ahead and get on it. That's all I gotta say.
There was an idea.